Non-kinetic operation aimed at giving hope to ex-combatants who willingly give up their arms to embrace peace. It is a defense headquarters-led multi-agency humanitarian, DRR for short, of ex-combatant Boko Haram members that willingly surrendered, which was established in September 2015 and became operational in 2016. Operation Safe Corridor is guided by, among other provisions, such as international humanitarian and human rights laws. It's being administered by 468 staff drawn from other federal government ministries, departments, and agencies of government, including Northeast Development Commission, as well as locals from Gombe General area, where the DRR camp is located. The key implementation partners are United Nations International Children Emergency Fund, UNICEF for short, International Organization for Migration, IOM, United States Agency for International Development, USAID, Department for International Development, DFID, Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, and Northeast Regional Initiative. Now, a brief explanation of the DNA of the ex-combatants brought to the camp. It covers psychotherapy, psychospiritual counseling, drug abuse intervention, art therapy, sports recreation, and introduction to Western education to counter the Boko Haram terrorist ideology. Now, rehabilitation. The rehabilitation package of the program includes training in barbing, carpentry, cosmetology, farming, leatherworks, shoemaking, tailoring, and welding. After this, they will be issued with starter packs, basic tools, in bracket, and provided with take-off funds. Now, what about reintegration? The reintegration aspect of the DR program is the most delicate and longest phase that lasts beyond the camp. It entails transitional justice initiative involving family linkage with the assistance of IOM and UNICEF, amongst others. Administration of oath of allegiance is conducted at this stage. The panel is headed by a judge of the Federal High Court with members drawn from relevant agencies. Gentlemen of the press, gleaning from the concept and conduct of Operation Safe Corridor, it is not a process of assembling raw, repentant ex-combatants to inject them back into the society by the military, not at all. Rather, it is an international best practice for conflict management backed by relevant laws with the concurrence of key stakeholders such as international organizations and MBAs, among others. Thus, since its inception in 2016, Operation Safe Corridor has admitted 893 ex-combatants for the program, out of which 280, including 2 Chadians, have been successfully reintegrated back into the society through their respective national and state authorities. Presently, there are 603 of them undergoing the program and will be graduating by July this year. The operation is a success story, as feedbacks from those reintegrated are positive. A case in point is in Bama, one who learned barbing as a vocation and successfully was empowered and has successfully empowered 4 locals, and the man is happily married with children. On this note, we are happy to have the coordinator of Operation Safe Corridor himself here with all or some of the participating agency representatives. So I will kindly request that you clear your doubts in any area that will have positive impact on the whole program and furthermore on our target audience. Thank you, and then you can fire up. Okay. Yes, for the first batch of over 200, like the everyone went to Chad, some to other places, and that was why here we gave, they were all successfully reintegrated back to their societies, to their communities. And that is why we brought out the classical example of the one in Burma, who after being reintegrated back to the society, further empowered 4 other people, 4 other indigenes of the locality to become Babas like himself, and he's doing well, and he's married. So that is an evidence among several that it is succeeding. Is there any intervention from your end? Good. This thing in 2 legs. Why I want us to hand, I will respond to all your questions, but be patient. You know we are in this class together, the core of journalists. We all agreed last 2 weeks, when this issue of, you are raising these people back into the system, fear and all, when I went to other programs. So we now say, let us focus on it today. Now, are you satisfied with the brief I've given on reintegrating the ex-combatants back? Then we can now go ahead. Because the focus here is that we are not, all the military as a lead agency is not even the major organization. I want this in clear because, I told you, we have this meeting so that we can trash it out. You will not be calling me one-on-one. No, let's trash it out. The military did not come to assemble, as it were. Ex-combatants and senators reject them back. It is an agreement, a best practice all over the world. In wars, once somebody surrenders, you are bound by international conventions, amongst others. International humanitarian and human rights law, amongst others. And other initiatives came in. So you need to know that. Because some people are saying the military, so it is you that will project it out. And that is why once we give you the soft copy, go and look at paragraph 7. That is summarizing or looking at all the package, the total package. The list of agencies that are here, which I will give you 17 of them. So if you are satisfied with that, then this is for me a new thing altogether, a new leg of this meeting, which is supposed to come after this. Now let me go back to the nation's newspaper. You say that on one side we are fighting the war. This is a non-kinetic approach of fighting the conflict. So does it mean that when you are now in a conflict, the dynamics will finish at one stage? No. You know we are in a asymmetrical situation, unpredictable type of warfare, conflict. People that will tell you yes, maybe they mean some other things. You recall that for the last couple of, months, 2 months, a lot of collaborators have been mocked up. As at the last time we came before, there was some other figures last week, it was over 80 of collaborators, people that collaborate and work with them. If you now go into the details of this, like I told you, people, let us not rush into happening now. The details came out further after the governor's visit to the site. They told the people, come out, let us preach to you. Is it English they are using to preach to them? The answer is no. It's obvious. It is a language they understood. And probably people that know them, and they were deceived. They know them maybe to some extent. Further intelligence is going on about this particular issue. There is another one that I got personally, I told them on various platforms. That yes, we were working with you, but you gave our positions away. And that's why they are attacking us. So a lot, the same thing applies to both sides, northeast and northwest. So I would say that it is part of the conflict, but it's unfortunate. In the history of wars, this kind of things normally happen. Go and trace back to wars. They will say, look, you gave our position away, you were a spy on both sides. That is one of the key things that we can get from this. So that does not stop you as a conventional armed force that is bound by international conventions, rules and regulations, that when somebody surrenders and says, I have laid down my arm, that you will not follow the due process. That is what I can tell you. And it is one of the measures of what? Of handling the conflict, tackling a security challenge. That one has been there from the history of wars. Even from olden days, When we go to the history of Old Wars, even to the Crimean Wars, First World War, Second World War, there is such situation that exists. And it is still very potent and a very, very veritable tool. So that is what I can tell you, that there is no way you can divorce or separate the two. Putting non-kinetic measures in vision and working towards it, and then kinetic. So both of them, they go hand in hand. Now, of war, you cannot, by operational standard, give exact figures. When people move, there's what we call fire and movement. Fire and movement is not 1 meter. As you are firing and moving, it could even stretch up to 1 kilometer depending on the circumference or the battlefield that has been created. That is what most times you people report as missing. And then you now give time for people to recover. The time of the recovery is within exploitation. So it is not because they don't have enough arms or ammo that you get that report. That you hear that 2 people, 3 people are missing, you now give them time. Sometimes they could even train. By your training, when the moment, well, let me not use everything on the air. The moment there's a gunshot, there are actions you take. You don't remain at the position so that you don't come under end fire. You don't become the sitting target. So have you heard that? That is what is majorly and mainly responsible for this dispersal. When they now come back together, then you can now actually confirm, take strength, and we call it parade state. You now take the parade state of the people in the unit or the people in the front line. That is where you now confirm. So, my dear, it is not that because there's no weapon, there's no ammo, there's no arms. That is why people do carry out this proper combat action when you're in contact with your enemy. So that's what happens. Thank you, my dear.